Okay, so this is the main panel, the 3030, and you have your DVC, the Digital Voice Command Center, with a microphone and a handset for the fire department. You guys won't really be messing with the handset. What this is for is if the fire department comes in response to an alarm and their radios don't have communication in the building, they can come over here and grab a handset from here, and then they have the plug-in devices in the stairwells and by the elevators that they can plug into and talk back and forth. And that's what these switches are for right here. If they plug in, it'll flash right here at what zone they're in, and they can touch that button and talk back and forth. So just so you guys know, if the fire department comes in in response to an alarm, you can guide them to where the phones are. They're going to be able to tell. It's labeled right here. It's pretty obvious. Just showing you guys. So there's three types of signals that come in on a fire alarm system. You have a fire alarm, a supervisory, and a trouble condition. So we'll start with troubles. It's the easiest one. A trouble can be anything. It could be low batteries. It could be a ground fault where a wire's touching ground. It could be an open circuit. A device is dirty. A device is missing. There's numerous conditions that can cause a trouble on the panel. What's going to happen on the panel is it's going to beep. You're going to have the trouble light, system trouble light come on right here. And the only thing you can do at that point is hit the acknowledge button. Acknowledge basically is just acknowledging that you know there's something wrong with the system, and it silences the local piezo within the 3030 here. So you'll have a display on here too of what's wrong. It'll say, for example, device missing. It'll say no answer, loop 1, device 65. All the devices in the whole building have labels that we put on them that have the loop number and the device number, so it's easy to find them. When there is a trouble condition, all of our information is on the front of the panel right here. You can give us a call. This is also the, whenever you want to do work on the system, if you guys are doing some soldering or painting, obviously cover up the smoke detectors, and then call this number right here, this 888 number, and this is your account number, the 692-554. Just give them that account number on the phone and tell them how long you want to put the system on test for, and they'll go ahead and do that for you. Now, a big thing I want to go over, because a lot of people ask me this question, I'm sure you guys know it, but when you put a system on test via the phone from the central station, it doesn't disable all the smoke detectors in the building. It's basically just telling us not to call the fire department if there is an alarm.
Every time.
So you still have to cover up the smokes if you're doing any kind of welding or soldering or painting. Okay, so with that said, let's move on to the supervisory conditions. Supervisory condition is more of like a maintenance alert, something you guys need to check out immediately if it comes in. The only two types of devices that you have here that will cause that is one, a sprinkler tamper valve. If someone closes a valve in one of the stairwells in the sprinkler system, that will cause a supervisory alert. You'll get the supervisory light to come on. Once again, you can acknowledge it, just silencing the local piezo. The other major device that you guys have that's a supervisory device is all the smoke detectors in the guest rooms. And they're non-latching. So it's the same type of device almost as you have in your house. If there's smoke, if you guys are cooking or someone's smoking, the device will go off, has a local piezo on the base, excuse me, for the smoke in the room. And once that smoke is cleared or the steam from the shower, that device will silence itself and it will reset itself on the system. So we call that non-latching. A fire alarm is the opposite, it's latching. Once you pull a pull station or smoke goes into a common area smoke detector or heat, they lock into alarm. The only way to get it to clear is to fan it out, to remove the source in the field, and then reset the panel. So far you guys understand the difference between supervisory and trouble?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on to alarm. If you guys have any questions, jump in at any time. So a fire alarm, that's the major one obviously. That's going to be caused from any device like a pull station right here, a smoke detector in the common areas, not the ones in the guest rooms like we just talked about. Common areas would be the corridors, elevator lobbies, this whole back area you guys have. Any smokes in there are going to cause a full-blown alarm. Now, the way the sequence of operation is set up on this particular system is the alarm that goes off on that floor, it's going to be that floor and the floor above and below that go off only, the audibles and the visuals. So if you have a smoke detector on the third floor, it's not going to evacuate the whole building. It's going to go on third, second, and fourth. Just so you guys understand that one. So if you're on the first floor, you're only going to get 1 and 2. If you're on the 7th, you're going to get 7 and 6. So there's no floor above 7, there's no floor below 1. So once it goes into alarm, that's where we come in with this paper right here. The first thing you want to do is acknowledge it, and that's, once again, is just going to stop the beeping, the local piezo here. It's going to lock it on the display of what's in right now. So you're going to see fire alarm, smoke detector, 5th floor, west corridor by room 565, for example. That's what it's going to say. Also, when a device goes into alarm, it has a solid red light. Right now, if you watch the one above it, it's going to flash about every 6-7 seconds. It flashes green. When it goes into alarm, those two LEDs will lock in red. Same thing with the pull station. You can see the little flashing green light behind it. Once you pull it, that light will flash red, or stay solid red. I'm sorry. So So that makes it easier too when you're walking down the corridor to find out where the device actually is. So you have the description on the panel plus the LEDs to help you. Now I did just talk about the sequence of operation on floor of alarm, above and below. The only 3 devices that are different, that are actually full evac, are the 3 pole stations in the building. There's only 3. There's one here, there's one at PBX, and there's one at by your guys' main registration desk. Right? Yeah, so if you pull that, it's going to evacuate all 7 floors. Everything's going to go off at one time. And the reason for that is if there is a fire on, let's say, the 3rd floor, and you guys investigate it and you find there is a fire in the building, you guys can come and pull that pole station and obviously evacuate the whole building before the fire spreads, which it shouldn't because of the sprinkler.
So, and when in doubt, pull it.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's any doubt, just pull it.
Yeah, I mean, I would...
Once there's an alarm.
Exactly.
To be on the safe side.
Yeah, I mean, I would investigate it first, acknowledge it here,
Sure.
Don't silence it. And I don't know how Millbrae is. I know San Francisco is real strict on silencing and resetting the alarms. They want to make sure that the fire department actually gets out here before you silence anything, just in case. Even if it is a false alarm, I think Reggie's looking into that, actually, I know.
Because I think there's a charge for...
Yeah, well, false alarms, I think, it was like $1,000 charge or something like that.
So we don't want them coming out.
Yeah.
And then in the past, what we did is we'd investigate if it was a false alarm. We wouldn't contact the fire department.
But now the
Just
fire
reset.
department's going to be notified.
Yeah, and now they're automatically notified.
Yeah, and that's the next thing I was going to get into is now you have a dialer which is located behind this panel here. It's hooked up to 2 phone lines, and that's the whole point of putting the system on test. If there's an alarm, it's an immediate thing. The panel's already sending a signal to our central station, and our central station's on the phone with the fire department. So if you find, let's say for example, you're doing some solder work and you forgot to cover a smoke, and you know it's a false alarm for sure, you can call this number and try to call the fire department off. Just call the number, give the account number, say, hey, we have a false alarm. Can you call off the fire engines, see what they can do. Most of the time it's not possible because they're already on their way,
rolling,
but it's worth a shot if you know it's a false alarm. Okay.
So so for the supervisory conditions, once again, it's just for the sprinklers and then for the smoke detectors?
Smoke detectors in the guest rooms only, and the sprinkler tamper valves. A sprinkler water flow, there's 2 different devices on a sprinkler system. A water flow is basically like a switch that's inside the pipe. Once a sprinkler head breaks, the system's always got water in it, in the sprinkler system. So once a head breaks, that water is escaping, and when the water is refilling itself from the city, there's a switch inside the pipe, a little flapper valve that after, between 30 and 90 seconds, that flapper valve is activated from the water flow, and that's a full-blown alarm. That is about the most severe case alarm you can get. And that's pretty obvious there's something wrong. This is a speaker system. You don't have horns, obviously. There's a lady's voice that comes on. I think you guys probably heard it when we were testing. There's a couple whoops, and then it's a female voice basically saying, attention, attention, there's been a fire report in the building. While this is being investigated, please evacuate the building. Use the stairways, not the elevator. Some sort of line like that.
So we don't need to come back here and make that announcement.
No, the system will automatically make the evac announcement.
It's kind of creepy.
Yeah, so that's one thing that I think it was like Rod and Reggie were kind of they want to call Marge about that and see if they can change that to say something like, basically stay where you are while the team is investigating it. We'll let you know if there's an alarm, and once you guys find out there's an alarm, then you can get on the microphone and let people know to evacuate. So they're working on that. We can't make that call because Marge, she designed the system, and I can't go above that. So once she makes that call, we can definitely reprogram it any way you guys need it.
Sure.
So with that said, the microphone, if you guys want to do an all call, there's a button right here. You hit the all call button, and this is going to light up all these lights right here. You got 1st floor through 7th floor speakers, the 4 stairwells, and the elevator cabs.
Okay.
So once you hit that, I'm just wait for you.
I'm in the fire control room with the training for fire life safety.
Okay, so all call. You pick up the microphone, hit the all call button. Once you key up the mic, you'll be talking to every speaker circuit in the building.
Okay.
If the building is an alarm and you have a floor, like let's say for the 3rd floor, for example, you're going to have 3rd, 2nd, and 4th in alarm. The speakers will be going off and the strobes will be going off. If you hit this button, page active evac areas, it'll just page those specific floors, and that's an easy way to call off people in a false alarm situation. Another thing that, go ahead. Let's see, 1st floor through 7th floor speakers, you just hit this button. I don't want to do it now because
No.
if you hit this button, and once you keep the mic, you can talk to just the 7th floor.
Okay.
When you're done, just hit the button again and it'll go clear.
Yeah, and then that one again.
This one's an all-call. This will light up everything.
Everything.
And this one will just do, like, for example, if you have the 3rd floor going off in alarm, it's going to activate 2nd, 3rd, and 4th automatically, like per the sequence of operations.
Okay.
So what this does, by pushing this button, instead of activating all of them, it just activates 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It pages the active evac alarms.
Okay.
So that's an easy way, for example, if the 3rd floor is a false alarm and you know it, you can hit that button and just talk to 2nd, 3rd, and 4th and say, hey, there's been a false alarm reported in the building. You guys can go about your business and then reset the system. Let's see. I mean, that basically covers the gist of it. You guys have the same display in PBX and the other. I know up front you wanted us to turn off the piezo and control, so we did that.
So now, I think we need it back on because there's a period of time that the phone calls are forwarded from command center to the front. So that gap of time we can't really have.
Okay. So you want me to turn the piezo and control, or just the piezo?
Well, tell me what each one.
Well, piezo is just going to have it beep, so it draws your attention to it. You'll hear it beeping, and someone will look at it. Control, you can actually use the buttons like PBX. You can silence, reset, scroll.
I think we want to have both of them.
Okay.
Just so that MOD has that autonomy. And this would only be on overnight that they would be responding to it, because that's the only time that the phones get forwarded, because we have that person on break. And then there's another 15-minute break, so it's actually about 45 minutes. Actually, it's an hour. So yeah, we definitely, I want to make sure that everything is covered, and I hadn't thought about it until one of my managers mentioned it to me.
Okay, we can do that for sure.
Go ahead. I'm actually in training right now. Can you grab contact information, please, or ask the guests to wait? I can be out in about 10 minutes, maybe. Okay, if he can wait 5 or 10 minutes, I can be there.
Yeah, so we should give about 5 more minutes. So you guys have seen just like your paper shows, you got the acknowledge, signal silence, reset. The 3 buttons up here. You can also use these soft keys. What happens is this panel, you got the nice one, so what happens is when things come up on the system, these soft keys with these arrows on the side, depends, like for example right now you can go to main menu from this button right here, or back to the graphic screen. But what happens is these soft keys things will pop up, like if there's an alarm, it'll be flashing acknowledge, acknowledge. You just push the button, it'll be flashing silence or reset, you just pick the one you want. So it makes it really easy to walk you guys through it, instead of having to just use these red buttons on the side. Now if you guys are ever required to do a fire drill from the fire department, which I doubt because we're going to be doing annual testing for you guys, just in case you want to know, there's a drill button right here. If you hold that button down for 2 seconds, it'll activate all of the silenceable signals in the building.
Okay.
So just be careful with that one. Don't hold it down. That's why they make it for 2 seconds. It's kind of hard to mistake a button and hold it for 2 seconds.
You might hit it by mistake.
Exactly.
You're not holding it down.
So as long as you guys are clear on the buttons, the 3 different types of alarms, you know that the pole stations are full evac. That's a big one. The batteries are located in these cabinets. The amplifiers for the speakers are located in the ventilated cabinet over there, and the red cabinets are power supplies for the strobes on the first floor alone.
Okay. And all these things are locked and
they are locked, and all the keys are right here. So the gold keys are for the red cabinets, and all the black cabinets that you see in the building are all keyed alike with the one notifier key. Okay. There's just a couple sets here, so if you guys want to, I don't know what Reggie want to do with those, but maybe the engineer could take one for each of you guys and put it on your keychain. But you can see the one that's in here for the batteries. This one is all the same key for everything. Okay. All the black cabinets, that makes it easy. The other thing, I forgot to mention is you have a printer on site. This is really nice. So anytime anything happens, this mimics exactly what happens on the screen. It'll print it out. So you can always hit the tear button right here. And what that'll do is print it out enough for you to grab it and look at what happened. Just make sure it's got paper all times. I mean, the paper lasts a long time. We're also in the process of getting our as-built completed right now from our office down at Huntington Beach. Once those come in, we'll be putting them in this tube right here, so you always have them on site.
Okay.
Instructions that we gave you guys right here are located right here in this pamphlet with our contact information below, and also the 3030 and the DVC operation instructions are right there on the wall.
Okay.
So that said, if you guys have any questions.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it is pretty easy. It's a real nice system.
Actually, I have the California high-rise fire safety director's certification.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
So you're good.
the only one in the building with that certification.
So you're good to go.
I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna
That's
be
done
on-
in LA.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
It's done only in LA and San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have that
That's good.
certification, yeah, through my union. Yeah.
All right.
Even though we're not a high-rise, it says I took the training.
What do they consider a high rise in the city of Millbrae?
It's one more floor.
One more floor. Huh?
One more floor, and then we have,
All right.
because we're 7.
Well, that went easy.
Oh, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with the systems in general, so.
Yeah, they're real easy. Especially the new ones are so easy to operate. I mean, everything
I
is
like
just
all
so
of this.
straightforward. That one you had before was
Oh.
so
Well,
old.
and not always the same person would get on the internet